You have all the money and connections you need to handle the business part of taking over this company. Ansel smiled as he explained to Olivia, but there's one thing you're forgetting that you do need to worry about. What is that? Olivia asked impatiently. This was exactly why she wanted Ansel here. Because with his experience, he could see things she didn't expect. That didn't keep her ego from feeling a little wounded. She wanted him to spit it out. You're fighting a public opinion battle that you're already losing. Ansel sighed. You have saved the Johnson family and its company at its most helpless time. But in the eyes of the people of New York and the rest of the outside world, this is not the case. Olivia nodded. I see. They will only think that I shoved my grandfather out of the way and took over his position as chairman of his company. Like I kicked the old man while he was down. And I'm sure, Ansel began to add, but Olivia caught on to what he was saying, her eyes widening with the realization. She finished his sentence. Grandpa will be using whatever contacts he still has to help people draw that conclusion. Ansel smoothed his napkin unconsciously. The business world is a battlefield. It's normal for companies to buy each other, merge, and purchase shares like you did to change their leadership. Everyone understands that. Olivia stared out into space. But I'm Jack Johnson's granddaughter, so it's different. Ansel cleared his throat. I don't want to, how did the kids say it? Mansplain? But being a young woman makes your public opinion issue that much more difficult. She sighed. Go ahead, I definitely have guesses, but I want to hear from you how the outside world sees me as the new head of a company. Ansel was uncomfortable but forged ahead. I do not think this, of course. But there will certainly be those who label you as having too much ambition for your abilities, and might even say that you are without feeling or humanity. Olivia laughed bitterly. Of course. For me, having ambition and conducting business unemotionally are suddenly a bad thing. Ansel nodded. Especially since you changed the Johnson family company to the Park family company. You took the name a powerful man built and changed it. Someone might use this to make a big fuss about you. To say that I'm a traitor and an outsider? She crossed her legs, thinking. Yes, Ansel admitted. And since your company's value in the stock market is based largely on the feeling of the business community, public opinion can have a decisive role in what you're trying to pull off. Olivia considered this carefully. Ansel, thank you so much for all of this. I think it will be okay to put this issue on the back burner for now, but I'll keep it in mind. And I don't think you've touched your food. Please eat. Okay, Ansel replied, still thinking about everything they'd discussed. On another note, Olivia began, feeling excited to switch topics. I need someone to come in as an executive to help me manage everything. Do you have any recommendations for someone like that? Ansel swallowed an oyster, thinking, not off the top of my head, but I will certainly let you know if I come across anybody. I wouldn't want to send you any old executive. I know you need someone with excellent ability and character. I wouldn't expect anything less from you. Olivia smiled. We really have to focus on eating all of this seafood, though. You're right, I'll stop being polite. Ansel responded, digging in. Yeah, we've known each other long enough, Olivia said, picking up her fork. Violet, you've also done an excellent job looking intimidating. You deserve to go to town on this, too, and we need your help. Violet nodded, starting to fill her empty plate. She smiled, thinking to herself, the more I see of Olivia and the way she does business, the more mysterious she seems. Olivia arrived at the conference room again for the meeting she had called with the other executives and department heads of her new company. She could tell that, though everyone was very composed, the room buzzed with nervous energy. She didn't have to read their minds to know that they were very curious about the new 18-year-old chairman who was now controlling their fates. This strange new step for the company just felt like another chapter in its current nosedive. She mentioned her plans to partner with the Jarbaldis and the Shooks, which stabilized everyone's morale. She could see the relief on their faces. Olivia wasn't a completely unknown entity to these people, since she had her own identity in the public eye. However, this was the first time they had all been in a room with her, and they didn't know it would be happening until a couple of hours ago. Olivia projected confidence while also trying to be sensitive to their confusion at the moment. Today, our public relations department will release the news, she explained slowly. In addition, we will be changing the name of the company in every department as soon as possible. I will also be holding a press conference the day after tomorrow. Everyone wrote this down. We will also have a contract signing ceremony with the Jarabaldis and the Shooks so that everyone knows about our new partners. If anyone has any other questions, you can ask them now. A woman hesitantly raised her hand. I have a question. Olivia gave her a nod and she continued. I manage the Human Resources Department. Our former chairman gave me an order to lay off 200 people by the end of next month. Is this? Cancel the order, Olivia replied quickly. Laying people off as a quick fix for a failing stock price caused by executive dysfunction is not something I will be doing. And besides, we need all the experienced people we can get for this transition. Is there anything else? Olivia asked the woman. Yes, we were discussing how many interns we will take on for the next school term. The HR manager continued. Off the record, we generally rely on having at least a few dozen to handle tasks in the mailroom. How many should we hire? Olivia sighed. She had suspected the company did this, but she thought it was despicable. Our interns should be here to genuinely learn, not to be exploited for work we should pay people to do. From now on, assign them to learning positions in every department, and let me know who we need to hire to replace their unpaid work. Olivia raised her voice. And if anyone else is aware of an illegal practice their department is doing to save money, inform me immediately, and it will be remedied. Everyone seemed heartened by this new attitude, which was not what they were used to. After these questions broke the ice, everyone else was emboldened to speak up, and the way Olivia confidently answered left them all sincerely impressed. She was not only knowledgeable and reasonable, she could collaborate with everyone. All of the executives were reflecting on who they were at 18, and not one of them could say they were that smart or accomplished. Is there anything else? Olivia asked again. The nervous energy in the room was replaced with excitement. Everyone genuinely looked forward to implementing what they had discussed and getting to work under their new chairman. They all looked at one another, with everyone seeming to be out of question. If there is nothing else, then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Olivia waved her hand and all of the company's leaders stood and gathered their things. They left the room as Olivia stayed, leaning her head against the comfortable chair at the head of the conference table. The adrenaline from the meeting was fading, and she suddenly felt tired. She closed her eyes. Do you want to go back to your office? Violet asked. I am thinking about it. Olivia blinked her eyes open, studying Violet. Violet studied her back curiously. Is there anything you need to tell me? Olivia smiled. This chair is so comfortable. Do you want to try it? Violet laughed, surprised. No need, but thank you. Okay. Olivia sighed and stood up. Let's go to the chairman's office. Olivia and Violet strode past the bullpen to her office. Jack's possessions and awards still filled it, not yet cleaned out in the hasty transition. They were both surprised to see the papers strewn all over the floor in front of the desk. Olivia snorted. Did he throw some sort of fit? Do you think he wanted to leave me a mess to clean up? Violet cleared her throat. I am told he had a panic attack and was taken to a hospital. Olivia took this in. Even after decades of doing this job, he was so rattled by this day. She supposed she should feel sympathy for her grandfather suffering a panic attack, but after all the anger, lies, and abuse he'd rained down on her, she couldn't feel anything but mild pity. Let's have someone come get his things sooner rather than later, Olivia said, and Violet nodded. Olivia took in the sight of the office, the people just outside it in the bullpen, the papers all over the floor from Jack's panic attack, and Jack's overflowing inbox stuffed with papers. She hadn't even scratched the surface of what it took to run this giant company every day, and she still needed to run her gaming company and go to school, all while dodging threats from a dozen different people who wanted her dead. She straightened her suit jacket nervously and wondered, can I actually pull this off? Olivia thought about the monumental task she had before her and had an idea. Violet, let's have your C team come in as executive assistants in the company That way, there's a little bit of help, but we know they're people we can trust with family secrets, and Olivia trailed off, realizing she was hesitant to say. They can protect you while you are here at the company? Violet nodded. Olivia also thought about how she would normally ask Chris for help in this situation. But he's busy, she reminded herself. I should try to get along without him, right? Olivia's cell phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and saw she was receiving a call from an unfamiliar number. She answered. Hello? Who is this? Olivia, it's me. A pleasant man's voice was on the other side of the phone. I'm back. How's it going with Polly? Olivia's eyes lit up as she gasped. Jeff Dreyer, you're back in the country? Jeff had been Olivia's old tutor, and she was sad to see him go. Yes, ma'am, Jeff answered. I came back after I finished my class and got my degree. Do you have time to catch up tomorrow? Yes, Olivia replied, excited. Are you free anytime? I am way too free. I just got back into town and have no job and no obligations. Jeff smiled. Let's grab a meal when you're out of school tomorrow. Bring Polly. I'll be there, but Polly... Sadness overcame Olivia. Polly had to go back to her original owner. She's not with me anymore. Oh, Jeff deflated. I'm so sorry, Olivia. That must be so tough. I know you'll miss her. Olivia smiled sadly. She was at least happy that this old friend was there for her and understood. Jeff, there is something I may actually need your help with. Do you have any time right now? Now? Jeff asked, surprised. I guess I do have time now. Come here. I'm at the Johnson Family Company. Olivia urged him. All right, Jeff answered. I'm a little nervous about what is so urgent. Don't be nervous, Olivia laughed, shaking off her anxiety. She was pressing him too much. We're just having coffee so I can tell you about something. Olivia definitely trusted Jeff and thought he was a good person. Before she had Vera, he had tutored her for years. And Polly, an excellent judge of character, always liked him very much. Olivia was surprised at how sad she felt that she wouldn't get to see Jeff and Polly play with each other anymore. Olivia gave Jeff all the instructions he needed to find her, and then they hung up. Olivia tapped the phone against her arm, looking again at the documents strewn across the floor in front of her desk. She crouched down and looked at the papers, trying to figure out if they belonged to each other and what exactly they were. She realized that they were all very important. At the sheer number of them, Olivia realized she felt a pang of sympathy for her dad and Ansel, as his right-hand man. They worked so hard and had to manage so many people and so much information. Her dad had sacrificed so much for the Johnson family. But Jack had treated Michael like another chess piece. Disposable. After an hour of starting to process the documents in her new office, Jeff arrived. She was excited to hug him and see his face after so long. She showed him to her favorite coffee shop in the vicinity of their building. They strolled through the pretty park nearby as they finally got down to business. So, Olivia, I saw something pretty big online on the way here, Jeff said with an air like he was confessing something. We have to talk about how you suddenly became chairman of the Johnson family. There's speculation about it everywhere. You really threw the world for a loop. Olivia waved a hand blithely. What's there to talk about? I wanted to chat with you about something serious. What is it? I'm all ears. Jeff was attentive. Olivia remembered that he'd always been like that, a good listener. He was also one of the few people who seemed to think that Olivia was wise beyond her years in a way that defied ordinary explanation. Olivia spoke carefully. First of all, you said you haven't found a job, right? I have not. I just got in last night and figured it would be easier to look once I was in person. Jeff smiled bitterly. But my parents have been urging me to go to their company to help them out. Do you think you're going back overseas anytime soon? She asked. Like to go get another degree or look for a job? No, I'm here in the U.S. from now on, Jeff replied. I'm so sick of school, I'm definitely ready to be done with all that. Why don't you go to your family's company? Olivia pried. Jeff blinked. He sighed like he was considering what to say, and whether to say anything at all. He smiled. I'm just not interested in the company's current business. Are you interested in the food and beverage business? She asked with a sly smile. the food and beverage business. Jeff was stunned. You are hiring, she said simply. I need a vice president. Are you interested? Me? Jeff was flabbergasted. You really are bold, Chairman Olivia. Bold in a bad way? Olivia pressed. Not at all. I think I'm just surprised. Jeff sipped his coffee. You just took over the Johnson family company and you're already looking to give away some of your power? I think people who want to ascend so quickly are often not wise enough to admit they need help. Olivia sighed. Which all sounds positive, and yet you seem so hesitant, Jeff. You have to admit, it's a chaotic situation for anyone to walk into. He raised his eyebrows at her. I would be nervous that I'm not up to snuff to give you the support you needed in getting this done. I don't know, I'm not sure why I feel so uneasy. I have no experience at this level. What's wrong with that? Olivia suggested. I know you very well, and I think you can do it. I would be lucky to have you. Jeff narrowed his eyes, still hesitant to trust the situation. He tutored her as a child and felt like he wasn't ready to trust her as a high-powered executive. I have a feeling that if you continue on this way, the Johnson family company might not last long. I actually know it won't, Olivia laughed. As soon as we get everything processed, there will be no Johnson family company at all. Jeff was stunned, blinking as he tried to understand what she just said. What do you mean? Olivia sipped her coffee, enjoying leaving him hanging for a moment. I decided that this company will no longer have the Johnson family name on it, but will instead have the Park family name. He nodded, impressed. Smart move. I'm very smart, she smiled. She clapped a hand on his shoulder. Jeff, are you interested in coming on board? He studied Olivia, still trying to sort out how he felt and what to say. I am more interested now, that much is sure. I know you've always thought I seemed wise beyond my years. Olivia normally wanted to avoid this impression because she wanted to conceal the secret that she actually had lived into her mid-20s before restarting her life in high school. But it seemed like it might help get Jeff on her team at this moment. Jeff shook his head. While I was studying overseas, I read so many psychology books and studies. I still can't find an explanation. What explanation? She asked, nervous. For what seems unusual about you, I don't know. I know this is normally something creepy older men say about young women they want to be inappropriate with, so I don't want to give that impression. But I can't shake the feeling that your mental age is so different from your actual age, which is not a scientific thought for me to have. Olivia smiled. Well, if we were colleagues, that would give you a chance to observe me more scientifically. Are you interested? Jeff was quiet for a moment. I need some time to think about it. Okay, Olivia agreed, having expected this. Smart move. He laughed. I am very smart. He looked out at the trees for a beat. I can give you an answer in 3 days, I promise. Olivia nodded. Sounds good. The two of them chatted for a while longer, catching up about each other's lives. As he left, Olivia met back up with Violet, who had been observing from a distance. Violet informed Olivia that her C team would be in the office the next day. Everyone else would be told they were Olivia's executive assistants there to help with the transition. Olivia remembered with a start that that day was supposed to be the day Jack and Bruno Johnson left New York. She murmured, I wonder if Jack can still leave after having a panic attack today. She glanced at the time on her phone. Violet, get your coat. We have another stop to make. After returning from the hospital, Jack rested on a sofa in the Johnson family mansion. Bruno had an urgent question for him, but felt hesitant to ask his dad anything since he had never seen him so delicate. Jack Johnson had a panic attack. He thought silently to himself in wonder. I never thought I'd see the day. It's like seeing an old tiger have a panic attack. Or a mountain. But Bruno did need to ask. He tentatively spoke. Dad, are you still leaving today? I'm not an old china doll. You can speak up. Jack was exceedingly irritated at himself for having been so vulnerable. You can't break me. It was an episode. That's all. It's past. Let's get on with the move. We're not delaying our trip because of this. Edward came down the stairs, shocked to see Jack lying down in the middle of the day looking so pale. "Grandpa, what's wrong?" "Nothing. Stop fussing over me. I'm feeling henpecked," Jack growled. "How's your packing going, Edward? Are you done?" "My things are all ready and in the car. I've asked for others to be mailed. I can leave at any time." Edward was happy to give his grandpa that good news, at least since he seemed so volatile. Jack sighed, a thought creeping into the back of his mind that he had been trying to suppress. "Today is the day I resigned from my position as chairman of Johnson Inc., the company I built, and now I am packing my things and fleeing the country." He tried to shake this off and the feeling of humiliation that came with it. "Stop wallowing," he chastised himself internally. "You're being a big sissy. We move forward, we rebuild." Jack cleared his throat and called out angrily to his son. "Bruno, how long until we leave?" "We leave for the airport in 2 hours, Dad," Bruno replied, looking at his watch. "Dad, are you hungry? I can make you something." "Not at all. I'm just ready to go." Jack shook his head. He had no appetite whatsoever. This Olivia snake, Jack thought angrily from the couch. I haven't had an episode like that in decades, and it acts up today because of her. His entire body ached. "But," Bruno protested, but was still scared to disagree with his father at all. He decided he was more worried about Jack's health. "You haven't eaten anything today, right? As far as I'm aware?" "I can't eat anything," Jack barked, frowning. When he thought about Olivia, his stomach turned and panic started to rise in his throat once more. "Okay," Bruno said, raising his hands. He hated seeing his dad this way. He clenched a fist. "It's all that damn Olivia." Edward perked up. "What happened with Olivia this time?" Bruno shook his head. "She actually—" But Jack cut him off. "Don't mention her. She's a traitor to our family. I don't want to hear her name in my presence." Bruno shut his mouth. Edward also knew better than to press further and guessed that Jack's pale, exhausted appearance had something to do with Olivia. Edward thought to himself, "This damn Olivia. We're about to leave New York because of her. What else does she want to do to us?" A woman's voice carried through the closed front door. "Yeah, they're all here." The 3 Johnson men inside turned and stared daggers in that direction at the same time. "Olivia!" Edward cried out, heated. He could only see part of her through the cut glass around the door, but he was sure it was her. He couldn't believe she would show up at their front door after what she had done to them that day. Jack was instantly so outraged that his whole body trembled. Olivia entered the foyer, her and Violet's footsteps echoing through the mansion as they walked into the living room. Bruno clenched his fists at his sides. "You have the nerve to come here?" Olivia asked innocently. "Uncle, didn't you tell me to come collect the house this afternoon?" "You!" Bruno choked. Indeed, Jack had asked Bruno to tell Olivia she should come officially take over the house. Since they were leaving New York that day, they had some final paperwork that needed to be signed. "Snake," Jack said as he felt his heart leap violently. "You robbed me of my company this morning. Now you're here to rob me of my house? You are nasty. A nasty young woman." "What?" Edward asked, stunned. "Olivia stole the family company?" "Now, Grandpa," Olivia gently chided, which only infuriated Jack more. "What do you mean I robbed you? Please speak accurately about what happened. You're upsetting Edward. I paid for everything fair and square, the shares in the company and this house. Are you under the impression that I did not purchase one of these?" "You!" Jack roared, spittle spraying from his mouth as he clutched his chest. "Get lost. I'm not selling the house to you. Begone, you harpy." Olivia sighed patiently. "Grandpa, the deed and the title have already been transferred to my name. I'll send the money to you in one lump sum. We just have the formality of the final inspection and the last bit of paperwork today." She smiled. "It's not up to you now to decide whether you want to sell or not." Jack took a deep breath, his face twisted. $50 million. I will buy this house back from you." "Grandpa, I don't need money. Obviously, I want this house, and I have it. If you really wanted to make it worth my while, I think maybe $10 million per square foot would make it tempting. Jack reddened and gritted his teeth. I would rather burn down this house than give it to you. If I burn it down, you couldn't have the ashes. Olivia ran a hand through her hair, seeming unbothered. If you did burn it down, then your trip out of the country would probably be delayed a couple of years as you stood trial for arson. I think you'd go to jail, I'm not sure. You should definitely look it up before you go through with that. How will you sleep at night after doing this? Jack spat through his teeth. Olivia laughed. I did not expect to hear that question from you of all people. But I think I'll probably sleep in the master bedroom. You're an animal, Jack shouted. I am ashamed that you are a member of this family at all. Oh, grandfather. Olivia had a pitying look on her face. You're scolding the wrong person, aren't you? Of all the people in this family, I have always felt that those who covet their brothers' wives are the real animals. Bruno glanced at Edward, unable to read his expression, but Edward was also angry. Bruno felt like he'd just been slapped in the face and was stunned, but felt like he had to respond. You witch, Olivia, who do you think you are to speak about anything in this family? Sure, I am not worthy, Olivia shrugged. Though you two did plan to pin all the blame for your failing company on my father and run away to start over in London. I am surprised to hear any indignation from you about family. Edward burned with rage. Olivia, you're going too far. You've stolen everything from us. Just because you feel like you've beaten us now, don't think you'll be on top for long. What Edward didn't say out loud, he was screaming in his mind. That company should have been mine. This mansion should have been mine. I should have inherited all of this, and she's stealing it away from me. She rolled her eyes in response. Again, I didn't steal it, I bought it, but you are welcome to make an offer, Edward, once you can afford it. Edward fumed silently, saying nothing. Jack glared at her. Olivia, remember this. Huh? Olivia pretended to be surprised as she turned to Jack. I forgot you're still here. Weren't you on your way out? The three other Johnsons were stunned into silence at her gall. Well, if there's nothing else, she said breezily with a smile, I will have to trouble you to leave my house. Jack, Bruno, and Edward were all nearly trembling with anger. Olivia thought with satisfaction, I bet I could crack an egg onto any of their heads and it would fry. Finally, Jack growled coldly, Let's go. Take care, safe travels. Olivia waved to them as they walked toward the door. Edward thought that this image of Olivia smiling at them would be seared into his mind forever. Olivia, enjoy today, he seethed as they left her. Your happy days are numbered because someday soon I will make you regret it. He saw her laugh at Violet through the window as they walked to their waiting car. I will see you crying, he vowed in his mind. I will see you in pain. I will see you beg for my mercy. I will have revenge. That's right, slither away like the snakes you are. Olivia felt a great satisfaction as she watched Jack, Bruno, and Edward leave the Johnson mansion. This is just the beginning, she laughed to herself. Olivia knew they would cross paths again in London. I'm not done with you yet. This is just the beginning. Enjoy the quiet before the storm that is coming. One by one, I will find everyone who betrayed me in my old life, and they will pay. Violet Cartwright eyed Olivia from down the hall. She couldn't quite put her finger on why, but she felt a chill run down her spine as she watched Olivia stare out the window, looking so pleased. It reminded her the way a dog might shy away from a stranger for instinctual reasons. But as far as Violet knew, there was no reason to distrust Olivia. Olivia looked up and saw Violet. Her face regained the more human warmth that put people at ease. Violet shrugged off the fleeting, eerie feeling and put it out of her mind. We've got our work cut out for us, Olivia sighed to Violet. I plan to renovate and redecorate this whole house. Tomorrow, can you find a decorator to come out and take a look? I especially want to change up the master bedroom and the room on the second floor with the big window. This place is going to have a new, fresh start. Just like me, Olivia thought. Of course, Violet replied. She followed Olivia out of the house. Once Olivia returned home, Morgana immediately hounded her with questions about what she had been up to that day. "If you keep asking me, I will cook stir-fried carrots tonight. I'm serious," Olivia threatened. She knew it was probably the most tame threat she'd ever made. But in the time Morgana had been staying with her, Olivia discovered that Morgana hated carrots in any form. Morgana wasn't really afraid of anything, but she hated carrots, so it was one of the few leverages Olivia had to work with. All right, I'm done." Morgana backed off and covered her mouth to show she would no longer talk. "I'll do anything, just don't cook carrots." "What do you want to eat for dinner instead?" Olivia asked, laughing. "Anything that isn't carrots?" Morgana shook her head and stuck her tongue out. "It depends on how cooperative you are," Olivia teased. "I just saw we have a lot of carrots in the fridge that need eating." "No!" Morgana protested. "I hate carrots, don't even joke." "Then I need a more specific alternative than anything but carrots," Olivia pressed. "Do we have to eat in again? We could go out. We could even go to the mall and get different things at the food court," Morgana said in a low voice like she was concocting a devious plan. "Especially with so many carrots, I've got to get out of here." "Okay," Olivia chuckled. "We'll go out to eat." "Good. Are you coming to school tomorrow?" Morgana jumped over to the next topic. "It depends on a lot of things," Olivia said with uncertainty. She had done a bit of multitasking in her life, but this was the first time she had really fantasized about being able to split into multiple people to handle everything on her plate. School was one of the last things on her mind compared to everything else going on. That same day, the news of Olivia becoming the largest shareholder in the Johnson family company, with 70% of the shares spread like wildfire. The added fact that she was a teenage female director made her the top story of every major media outlet. One headline caught her attention. 18-year-old boss makes waves in New York. Olivia had been so swept up in the business of her life the last few months that she hadn't time to realize that she was 18 now. It just hadn't sunk in. Her birthday had been a few months ago, but in the chaos of her trip to London with Chris, the problems of the Shook family, and her plans to take over the Johnson family, she hadn't had a second to reflect. "I'm officially an adult again," Olivia thought. "After what happened in my previous life, I have to cherish every year I can get. Maybe this time I'll get to experience old age." Later that night, Olivia snacked on dried fruit and nuts as she browsed the web to gauge the reactions to her big Johnson Company news. In general, the commentary was mixed. There was some skepticism about the power shifting from a famous business tycoon like Jack Johnson to a young girl. Olivia had also read that the pills announced the end of all business dealings with the Johnson family. That was hardly a shock to anyone, but the article she read was full of negative spin. Conversely, within the hour, both the Jarbaldi and Shook families had press releases pledging their support. This swung public opinion in a positive direction. If the Jarbaldis and the Shooks are standing behind the Johnson family, perhaps the Johnson family company still has some promise after all, one journalist wrote. Soon, the Bridges family released a statement as well that expressed support for Olivia. Bella Bridges, the young heiress of the Bridges family, has a good relationship with Olivia Johnson, the newly appointed director of the Johnson family. The Bridges family is invested in continuing their business relationship with the controversial company, another article stated. Olivia felt a swell of gratitude towards the Bridges family for the public support and immediately sent a text to Bella to express her thanks. "At the next opportunity, please let me host you in New York," she added in her message to Bella. As soon as she completed her text, she called Steve Shook and Jeremy Jarabaldi to thank them as well. All of her friends were happy to help and throw in the support of their families. Olivia ended her last thank you call and couldn't contain her smile. After all the brutal betrayals from people she thought were her best friends in her old life, the enduring loyalty of her new friends meant even more to her than she could possibly tell them. Just then, Olivia's phone rang. It was Jeff Dreyer. "Why, hello, Jeff. I hope you have good news for me." Olivia smiled. "You have good instincts, Olivia," Jeff chuckled. "I thought about your vice president proposal very carefully. And I'm willing to help, but I'm thinking a 3-year contract would be best to start. How does that work?" "I can agree to that." If after 3 years I can't change your mind to stay longer, then it will be my own fault for losing you," Olivia answered. The next day, Olivia went to headquarters and announced Jeff Dreyer would join their leadership as vice president of the company. Olivia then contacted one of Violet's team's C members to recruit them as her new secretary and transferred Jack's former secretary to serve as Jeff's secretary instead. Pairing his experience with Jeff will help his transition go as smoothly as possible, Olivia reasoned. Once Olivia had made all the necessary arrangements for the company, Olivia felt a great sense of relief and headed back to school. The moment she set foot inside the school gates, the eyes of every student were on her. It wasn't the first time Olivia had been the center of attention, but this time it made her a little self-conscious. This was the most high-profile she'd ever been, and she could feel the weight was heavier. Even though it was quiet enough to hear a pin drop, Olivia could hear snippets of everyone's thoughts, like the crowd shouting at her. "There goes Olivia Chairman Johnson. She's supposed to run the Johnson Company? Why did she have to blackmail to make this happen? With all the money to buy up the shares, couldn't she afford to do something better with her hair? I bet she crashes and burns. Shouldn't she be wearing a suit or something?" Olivia did her best to ignore the silent jeers. "I might look like a teenager, but I'm going to take this like an adult." Olivia pepped herself up. She kept her eyes fixed ahead and marched to class. When Olivia finally reached her classroom, Sam Feinstein wasted no time to join in the teasing. "Adam's go-to director of the classroom is here," Sam announced and clapped as Olivia walked to her seat. Several of the students snickered and joined in the clapping. "Who? Where?" Olivia pretended to gasp and rolled her eyes. "Get it? It's combining go-to assistant and director because you're the director," Sam explained. "But explaining a joke always makes it funnier, so great job," Olivia said sarcastically. She pulled out her chair and sat down. Wait, now you've been promoted to chairwoman, get it, chair? Because you're sitting and you're the... Never mind, everyone likes it, right?" Some students laughed and a few groaned. "Very funny, Sam." Olivia pulled her books out of her bag and tried to ignore him. "You're such an idiot, Sam." Millie smacked Sam in the shoulder with the hardcover book, and he immediately stopped laughing. Millie glared at Sam, then turned to the rest of the class. "Whoever else brings up anything about Olivia is not getting any help from me the next year." "But what if talking about Olivia is somehow relevant to the curriculum?" a voice asked quietly. Millie held up her hand to stop them. "Nope, failed. Anyone else?" Millie looked around the classroom and saw only cowed, tip-lipped faces. Millie really is so amazing. Scary, smart, and amazing, Olivia thought as she smiled gratefully at her friend. "Did I miss anything important at school the last few days?" she asked. "Sam, get back over here." Millie pointed and beckoned. When Sam joined them, Millie nodded at Olivia. "Tell her what you told me." "Yes, ma'am," Sam answered sarcastically before continuing. "One of my cousins is a teacher at Bamford Prep School. He was having a drink at my house, being all mopey, and he asked my dad to help him find a new job because..." He paused for dramatic effect. "Bamford Prep is closing down." "What?" "Oh," Olivia said. She knew exactly what that meant. "As if I need one more annoyance in my life." "Yeah, so guess where all the students are going to transfer?" Millie asked. "Marshall," they said in unison. "We're going to be overrun by dozens more Amanda Waynes," Millie moaned. Olivia remembered Bamford closing in her past life, and it had resulted in an influx of the very worst people. Their troubles were just getting started. "Amanda Wayne is going to feel like a paid vacation compared to what's coming next," Olivia said with a dark look. "I might have to teach them all a lesson." "Hey, you okay?" Millie asked Olivia. "You look a little like you're going to murder the whiteboard." Millie's eyes widened as she watched Olivia stare broodingly ahead at the whiteboard, lost in her thoughts. Olivia snapped out of her dark ruminating on what she might do to insufferable teens she had yet to meet. "Oh, no, I'm just distracted with work and stuff." Sam and Millie looked at each other and shrugged. Olivia quickly changed the subject. "Is there anything else going on around school that I missed?" "Two main other things about the transfer student situation," Sam explained. "They've started a student organization and named it the dorkiest name." "What was it?" The Transfer Student Success Club? Millie laughed as she made air quotes. Yeah, that's it. Sam nodded. They've already submitted paperwork and everything to officially start the club. Olivia understood the reason why the mood at school seemed so much stranger since she returned. Do you think the school will approve it? Millie asked. Most clubs get approved, so I don't know why they wouldn't. But they should make an exception. The last thing we need is them getting organized and having any tiny bit of power around here. Millie groaned. I don't know. Sam shook his head. The school doesn't have a reason to reject them. Olivia sighed. They probably treat them just like any other club. They have no idea what they're dealing with. Just then, a student walked in. Hey, did you guys hear? The Transfer Student Success Club was approved yesterday. I just saw the email announcement. Olivia, Millie, and Sam all checked their phones. Sure enough, an email from the school confirmed the Transfer Student Success Club would be formally recognized as a club. So that's it then, they're already official, Sam groaned. Great. Tell me the other thing you were going to say is better news, Olivia said wearily. Yes, thankfully. Sam sighed with relief. He was grateful to change the subject. The annual senior picnic day is coming up right before spring break. Everyone who wants to go needs to buy their tickets soon. Wow, spring break already? Olivia asked. She'd been so busy juggling all of her different projects and business moves, not to mention offing Hannah's ex-fiancé Aaron, that the school year seemed to be flying by. Unlike her classmates, Olivia would be busy catching up on everything else during the school vacation. Good morning, Francis called out as he walked in. Everyone greeted him in the usual friendly way. He walked up to Olivia's desk. Hey, boss, we saw your big news. My mom wants you to know we're rooting for you. Thanks, Francis, and tell your mom too, I appreciate it. At that moment, a new group of students walked into the classroom. The one who seemed to be leading them stopped and loudly asked, Francis? Wait, which one of you is Francis? Everyone looked around and Francis raised his hand. I am. Can I help you with something? Oh, you're a guy? The student said in surprise. We were expecting Francis to be a girl. He smirked. Is that a problem? Francis frowned. You're the first person to ever come up with that one, by the way, he added sarcastically. His hands clenched into fists as he considered what might happen next. If I have to take all of you on, I will. No problem. Chill out, buddy. The student held up his hands innocently. We heard you transferred here to Marshall in your second year. That makes you eligible to join our Transfer Student Success Club. We just got approved as an official club at the school, so everything is by the book. Consider this your formal invitation from us. He handed Francis a flyer with the swagger. Francis looked at the flyer, then crumpled it up and tossed it in the trash. I'm not interested. You could have just given the flyer back, so it's not wasteful. The transfer student leader shook his head disapprovingly. You take some time to think about it. Everyone in our club is from a prestigious family with many connections to the New York business scene. Could be good for your family business if you join. I don't need any more time to think about it, Francis insisted. I'm at school to learn and focus on my classes, not to network for my family. I'm not looking for business connections. Are you stupid? A shorter boy beside Francis scoffed. Why wouldn't you want to get a head start on succeeding after high school? This is none of your business. I don't even know you. Francis shook his head dismissively at the boy. He turned back to the transfer student leader. I don't care how good the networking is, I'm telling you, I'm not interested. You don't have to keep hanging around here and wasting your time. I hear you, but I'll still give you the time to think it over. I'll check in with you later about an answer. You're not the only one we're here to see. The boy smirked. He turned to look at Olivia. Aren't you Chairman Johnson? We're at school, I just go by Olivia, thanks. Olivia did not look amused. What do you want? We have a special spot in our club for you if you're willing to join. The transfer student leader held out his hand like an offer. Olivia glanced at his hand but did not move. Sorry, I'm not interested either. Olivia shrugged. There's no need to rush your answer. I'll check in with you again after spring break. Sound good? He didn't wait for Olivia to answer and arrogantly turned around to leave with the others. Oh my God, that guy! Sam cringed in disbelief. He thinks he's already a CEO. More like the transfer students who suck ass club. Okay, I will give you that one. Millie chuckled darkly. There's just going to be an entire club of them from now on. Millie groaned and put her head on her desk. Why? Olivia shook her head. Just try to put it out of your minds for now. Olivia looked around. Where's Lena? Olivia remembered that Lena was also originally a transfer student. She had been around long enough that it was easy to forget. The Transfer Student Success Club would likely try to recruit Lena, too. She's in the bathroom, Millie explained. She should be back soon. I hope they don't corner her to join. Ah, growled Lena as she walked into the classroom. I'm so mad. She angrily pulled out her chair and plunked down into it. What's wrong? Everything all right in the bathroom? Sam asked impishly. Sam, what kind of question is that? I'm not having your nonsense today. Lena scoffed. She saw Frances sitting at their joint desk and blushed. Don't embarrass me in front of Frances, Sam. Were you by any chance ambushed by the Transfer Student Success Club? Olivia asked. Yes. Lena gasped. How did you know? They were just in here giving out invitations. Olivia rolled her eyes. They are crazy. Lena snorted. I already told them I'm not interested in joining, yet they won't stop bugging me. They're relentless. They looked into my family situation and decided I met the requirements to join, but who does that? A bunch of stalkers? Of course, they're digging for even more members. Millie frowned. She hated these kids already. Yeah, they're being so aggressive, it's out of control. Lena said angrily. It's bad enough that they keep asking and asking, but a girl in the club even tried to pull me by my clothes in the bathroom just now, and didn't let go. She wanted me to say hi, but I refused. Why would I want to say yes to these mobsters? If it wasn't for Mr. Dickens shouting outside the bathroom, I probably still would be in there wrestling her off of me. They're already so full of themselves, and they just barely started. Sam frowned. Clubs need to recruit, sure, but it's supposed to be fair, and members have to, want to join. They can't be bullying people like that. Lena looked at Olivia and blinked, suddenly realizing the significance that she was there. Olivia, are you really here at school? Yes, it's me. I'm really here. Olivia laughed sheepishly. I know I've been gone for a while. I was worried we would maybe never see you again now that you're a high-profile, powerful businesswoman boss babe. But of course, you've found a way to do it all. Glad to have you back. Lena smiled at Olivia before raising her fists in frustration at the air again. What are we going to do about these transfer students? This can't go on like this. What can we do? We can't just ask the school to kick them all out. As much as I would love that. Frances shrugged helplessly. Isn't there a way to get them all expelled? They're so awful. They have to be violating school rules of some kind. Millie wondered. Olivia thought about their available options. If things get bad enough and they cross too many lines, there's one option I have that none of you know about. Will it come to that? These transfer students have no idea who they're dealing with. Olivia brooded about the trouble these obnoxious, arrogant transfer students were adding to her already barely manageable life. I really don't have time for drama at school right now, she groaned. Suddenly, Olivia remembered something. Millie, when's our next test? In a few weeks, why? Millie answered. She never knew Olivia to be worried about tests. She was always on top of everything. Millie often wondered how someone so young did it all. I completely forgot, and I haven't prepared at all. The school has really taken a back burner lately since everything is so crazy with the company. With both companies. Olivia rubbed her face with her hands. There's no way I can pass that test, even with my old tutor Jeff as my vice president. Olivia laughed. Don't worry, you have me. Millie smiled and patted Olivia on the shoulder reassuringly. Let's have a study group after school. I can't after school. I have to go straight to the office. Olivia shrugged regretfully. How am I going to keep up with school and run the company? I can't afford to let anything slip, not now. You're the boss now, right? Can't you tell everyone? You need an hour after school for a few weeks? Sam questioned. Olivia thought about Sam's words. He has a point, which is annoying. Why did I work so hard to gain all of this control and power when I can't even use it sometimes? I hadn't thought of that, actually, Olivia admitted. I have too much to do to be able to attend every study session. But I think I could make it some days. I'm sure Jeff will manage for an hour here and there without me. Great! The study group is on. Sam's fist pumped. How about we do it at Millie and Lena's? That sounds fine to me, but it depends on Lena since we live together. Millie nodded at Lena. I'm happy to host too, Lena said. Okay, everyone comes over after school. The more the merrier. Just no transfer student success club members. Lena cringed. I'll bring drinks, Frances offered. Drinks? Lena asked skeptically. Yeah, like soda and nice lemonade or something? Frances shrugged. Oh, right, of course. Lena blushed. I'll bring dessert, Sam said. And I'll order actual food, Olivia said. I'd make something, but I don't really have the time. We'll find a way to feed ourselves on the days Olivia can't come. Millie laughed. Okay, it's settled then. A girl cleared her throat behind them. Millie turned around to see Camilla and Cameron Pell standing behind her. Count me and my brother in for the study group, Camilla grinned. There's no way I'm missing an opportunity to have Cameron and Millie hang out more at her place. She thought. What? Why? Lena asked. Because we need help studying too. And I heard you say the more the merrier? Camilla crossed her arms impatiently. Sure, you can join. Millie nodded and looked at Cameron standing behind Camilla. She smiled subtly at him. Before he could respond, the bell rang and everyone moved to sit at their seats. Adam walked in to start the class. Good morning, juniors. Morning, they all answered. All right, let's take out your language books and turn to page 73. Adam said as he stood at the podium. He looked around at the faces in class and suddenly stopped when he spotted Olivia. Olivia, you're back with us today, he smiled. It's true, I'm here. Olivia waved awkwardly. I'm sure it's not easy to find time to come to school when you're as busy as you are. Adam chuckled. Olivia blinked, surprised that even Adam would joke about her new responsibilities. You're right, it's pretty hard actually. Adam realized Olivia was not in the mood for his jokes and quickly moved on. Go ahead and read for us, Olivia. Should I use my regular voice or my chairwoman's voice? Olivia joked. If I can't beat him, join him. Everyone laughed at Olivia's clever response. It felt good to own it and have everyone laughing with her. Millie covered her mouth as she laughed. Suddenly, she felt a tap on her hand. Huh? She looked over and saw a folded piece of paper on the desk between her and Cameron. Millie picked it up subtly and unfolded it in her lap. It said, Good morning. Millie smiled and wrote back, Good morning. She slid the note over to him. Cameron looked at Millie's lovely handwriting on the note and smiled. It was small, but it was their special thing. When the class period was nearly over, Adam announced the senior picnic day. Olivia and Sam, I think you're signed up to be at the planning meeting the day after tomorrow. You know about the picnic day, Olivia? Yes, Sam filled me in, all good, Olivia replied. Would you mind informing the class? Adam asked. All right, Olivia answered grudgingly. She walked to the podium at the front of the classroom. The school is putting on the annual senior picnic and serving lunch to everyone. We need to get a vote on what food to have, she said in a tired voice. I don't care what it is as long as it isn't carrots. Put me down for no carrots, Morgana instructed. Everyone laughed at Morgana's childlike taste in food. Why are you laughing? If you knew what I know about carrots, the evil... Morgana mumbled. Okay, no carrots, deal. Olivia smiled and moved on. If anyone has ideas, now's the time to share so we can discuss. They put together a list of ideas for the food, and Olivia wrote some nominees on the whiteboard. Okay, our options are burgers and hot dogs, sandwiches, pasta, fried chicken, and... Olivia squinted at the list. Cheese. Olivia looked up at the class. Are there any other ideas we want to vote on? Why don't we eat prepared food by you, Olivia? A student in the front row asked. I've heard all about how you're a really talented chef, and we've never had the chance to try it. Oh, you have no idea what you're missing, Sam chimed in. My mom still can't stop talking about Olivia's cooking. He thought back to his mom's over-the-top praise whenever Olivia came up, and he cringed a little. The rest of the class's eyes lit up. Great idea! Forget about the ideas on the blackboard. Let's try Olivia's cooking. Hang on, guys. Olivia raised her hands, trying to rein everyone in. That's a lot of food for a lot of people. As you are all very aware, I have a lot on my plate right now. Adding this might actually kill me. Everyone settled down with a disappointed sigh. Olivia thought about it and then had an idea. How about this? Olivia proposed. What if no one has to buy a ticket, and instead everyone brings a dish? We can do a potluck and try everyone's cooking. That idea seemed to bring back the enthusiasm. Students who knew how to cook were excited to show off their skills, and some students were excited to share signature family recipes as well. Olivia, you'll still probably have to bring 3 times what you would normally make. Your food is going to be the most in demand, Lena pointed out. All right, Olivia relented. At least I won't have to feed the whole class. That's our plan then, sound good? What about Adam? Millie spoke up. Is he going to cook too? Millie smiled and folded her arms in front of her chest. Me? Adam smiled awkwardly. Okay, I'll cook the same amount as Olivia to make things fair. Everyone cheered. We need to make sure we have a good number of mains and sides. We don't want all sides or no sides, Olivia reminded. I'll pass around this paper and everyone can write what they're going to bring. I'll review it and make sure it's a balanced menu. As the list went around, Cameron glanced at Millie and smiled to himself. He was starting to imagine what Millie might wear to the picnic. He only ever got to see her at school and liked the idea of seeing how she might dress up. The thought of Millie wearing something cute made his face flush. Are you all right? Millie peered at Cameron, concerned. Your face is turning really red. Cameron shook his head, embarrassed. He thought quickly of an alternative explanation and then wrote on the piece of paper. I don't know how to cook. If I bring a dish, I might end up poisoning everyone. I'll never live it down. Millie smiled and waved her hand. She suddenly remembered Wendy's cooking and laughed. Cameron's cooking couldn't possibly be worse than Wendy's. She wrote back, Then I'll help you make yours. Cameron smiled gratefully at Millie. Millie is such a great girl, he thought. He liked that helping him would probably mean spending more time together. Cameron was feeling warm and fuzzy about Millie when suddenly his phone buzzed. He checked it and saw a text message. His happy face instantly fell into a frown. He warily looked up at Olivia. The text message was short, but it left no room for misinterpretation. The 5 words on the screen read, Kill Olivia. Do it cleanly. Olivia stepped out of school and headed straight to the Johnson Corporation offices. As she entered the building, a confident smirk that screamed, I won, played across her face. Walking through the bustling corridors, she observed the Team C members she had recently hired. They seemed to be adapting to their new roles with ease. They're fine because they're pretty much just pretending to work, she mused, but it's all part of the game. Amid the office buzz, she spotted Jeff handling an issue with catering over the phone. No, we need the vegetarian options to be more than just salads. Think creative. Yes, stuffed bell peppers, eggplant parmesan, something like that, Jeff was saying, his tone firm, yet diplomatic. Olivia paused to watch him, a smile forming as she appreciated his natural aptitude for the role. Jeff's really taking to this job like a fish to water, she thought, feeling a surge of pride and relief. He's a natural. Entering her office, Olivia looked around. It was the same office that her grandfather Jack once sat in, but now it held a new energy. The modern decor contrasted sharply with the old-fashioned grandeur Jack had preferred. She sat down in the sleek, ergonomic chair, a stark difference from Jack's bulky leather one. Sitting here in this chair, playing the game better than he ever did. Olivia's thoughts were a mix of triumph and snark. Oh, how sweet it is to beat Jack at his own game. The door opened and Violet walked in with a stack of documents and contracts. These need your attention, Olivia. We have contract renewals for several of our suppliers and a couple of new partnership agreements. Olivia took the documents, scanning them with a practiced eye, signing where necessary. The rhythm of running the company had become almost second nature to her. As she worked, Jeff walked past her office. Olivia called out to him, "Hey, Jeff, how about dinner after work? My treat?" Jeff paused at her door, a hint of regret in his expression. "I'd love to, Olivia, but I have to stay late tonight. Rain check?" Olivia chuckled lightly. "What, you like this job more than hanging out with me?" "Never," Jeff replied with a smile. "I couldn't possibly like anything more than spending time with you. It's just, this catering issue needs sorting out. Rain check, I promise." "Deal," Olivia agreed with a grin, watching him walk away. The workday came to a close, and Olivia slid into the back seat of a sleek black SUV. Violet, her ever-reliable aide, took the driver's seat, starting the engine smoothly. In the back seat, Olivia sat pensively as Violet navigated through the evening traffic, the soft hum of the engine providing a soothing backdrop to her thoughts. "Your day?" Violet's voice broke the silence. "It was fine," Olivia replied, her mind still partly on the day's events. "Anything new on the investigation the B team is doing?" Violet sighed, adjusting the rear-view mirror slightly. "It's complicated. We're digging up information from 18 years ago. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack." Olivia nodded, her gaze fixed on the city lights passing by. "Stay the course, Violet. I want to know exactly what happened to the Rose family." The conversation shifted to the depths of the investigation. Finding anything substantial in the Rose family from that far back is challenging. Most trails have gone cold, Violet explained. Olivia leaned back, her mind racing. She must find out what exactly happened to the Rose family back then, she thought. Because of that, Mark DeLillo had been a thorn in my side for far too long. When we unravel this mystery, I'll make sure he pays, with interest. After a moment, Olivia changed the topic. "Let's talk about more pressing matters, like the Johnson Mansion renovation. I have so many ideas I want to get started on." Violet listened as Olivia detailed her plans for the mansion's overhaul. The discussion was animated, with Olivia sharing her vision for each room and each corner of the estate. "I won't be able to meet with the renovator the day after tomorrow, though. I've got the senior picnic," Olivia added. "That picnic sounds like chaos waiting to happen." Violet expressed her concern. "I'll be fine, Violet," Olivia assured her, though she appreciated the sentiment. "I think I should send Team A to watch over you discreetly," Violet insisted. Olivia was about to protest, but then she decided not to engage in a back and forth. "All right, if you insist." The SUV pulled up in front of Olivia's home. With a final nod to Violet, Olivia stepped out of the vehicle, her mind already racing with plans for the next day. As Olivia stepped through the door of her home, the scene that unfolded was nothing short of a one-woman theatrical production starring Morgana. With the flair of a seasoned actress on the West End, Morgana flung her arms dramatically, her expression a perfect blend of despair and indignation. "Oh, Olivia, there you are. I was beginning to think the walls would become my only companions," Morgana lamented, pacing with exaggerated steps, her hands fluttering like distressed birds. "Morgana, what's the crisis this time?" Olivia asked, a smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. "Crisis? Crisis?" Morgana echoed, spinning to face Olivia. "It's an epic of boredom and solitude. This house, vast and echoing, has been my dreary prison." She flopped onto a sofa, draping herself like a Victorian damsel in distress. "It's bad enough when your parents are home. Your father is so tedious. His idea of excitement is video games, but heavens, he plays with the skills of a toddler. It's an agony to watch. Olivia leaned against the wall, her amusement growing as Morgana's performance escalated. And don't get me started on Victoria, Morgana continued, now sitting up, her hands chopping the air for emphasis. Every evening it's the same dull routine, HGTV, always HGTV. I mean, how many shabby chic transformations can one endure? I feel like I am trapped in an endless loop of fixer-upper. Olivia crossed her arms, struggling to maintain a straight face. Morgana continued, but now I find myself dreaming of their dull companionship. With them gone, I may actually die of boredom. Morgana rose from the sofa, beginning to pace again. And the hunger, Olivia. I'm wasting away in this cultural wasteland. The American culinary experience is as underwhelming as a rain-soaked parade. Where are the hearty stews, the delicate pastries, the robust teas of our homeland? Okay, Morgana, I get it, Olivia interjected, trying to cut through the theatrics. You're hungry, let's get some dinner started. Morgana paused, her dramatic air deflating slightly. Very well, but it better be more inspiring than this dreadful day. As Olivia busied herself in the kitchen, Morgana leaned against the countertop, her rant winding down but not quite finished. It's not just the food itself, Olivia, it's the essence, the soul. In Britain, even a simple shepherd's pie has a story, a heritage. Here, everything's just oversized. Sitting down to eat, Olivia raised an eyebrow. So you're saying British cuisine is superior? Without a doubt, Morgana asserted, her eyes lighting up. A well-made Yorkshire pudding, a savory Cornish pastry, even a humble baked bean. They hold the essence of culinary delight. Olivia smirked, her skepticism written all over her face. Really? Culinary delight? I've had British toffee, Morgana. It's like chewing on sweetened cement. Morgana gasped, feigning shock. Blasphemy! Toffee is a British treasure. It's like a sweet, sticky handshake from history. And let's not even talk about the glory that is a proper trifle. Layers upon layers of sheer joy. A trifle, Olivia chuckled. More like a trifling mess. Now, American pie. There's a dessert that tells a story with every bite. Apple pie is practically a symbol of national pride. Morgana snorted. Please, it's just fruit in a pastry. But a British Sunday roast, now that's a meal that brings families together. It's like a warm, delicious hug from your grandmother. Olivia laughed, shaking her head. A hug? More like a polite nod. American Thanksgiving dinner, now that's a family affair. Turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, it's a symphony of flavors. We're like a loud, uncoordinated brass band, Morgana retorted with a playful roll of her eyes. And let's talk about breakfast. A full English breakfast is a masterpiece. Beans, sausages, toast, eggs, it's the breakfast of champions. Olivia raised an eyebrow. More like a breakfast of heartburn. Give me a stack of pancakes with syrup any day. It's like starting your day with a sweet, fluffy cloud. Morgana made a face. A cloud of sugar and regret, you mean? Not to mention American coffee, it's like murky water with a hint of despair. Olivia chuckled. That's rich, coming from a land of oversteeped tea. American coffee is the kickstart you need. It's bold, it's robust. It's freedom in a cup. More like a jittery leap into chaos. The banter continued, their laughter filling the room as they playfully defended their national dishes. Olivia was happy to have such a silly distraction from all the seriousness her life had become enveloped in. In stark contrast to the lively and jovial dinner at Olivia's, across town in a seedy diner, a very different scene was playing out. The diner, with its flickering neon sign and worn-out booths, exuded an air of neglect and despair. At a corner booth, far from the sparse late-night patrons, sat two shadowy figures. They sat across from each other, their posture stiff, a thick and obvious tension between them. The expressions on their faces were cold and serious. Neither of them wanted to be the one to start talking because they were trying to avoid the obvious truth. They had to kill Olivia Johnson. I thought he'd forgotten about us." In the dimly lit corner of a run-down diner, the Pell twins, Camilla and Cameron, sat opposite each other, their expressions haunted and forlorn. The fluorescent lights above flickered intermittently, casting eerie shadows over their pale faces. Both looked lost in thought, torn by inner turmoil that seemed to consume them from within. Camilla, her face etched with worry, signed to Cameron with a sense of desperation. "I really believed that Pete had forgotten about us and our mission. That maybe, just maybe, we could be something like normal teenagers." Cameron, his hands moving with a resigned grace, replied in sign language. "Normal. That was never our fate. We lost sight of the mission, but it was always there, looming over us." Camilla's hands trembled slightly as she signed back. "There has to be some way we can get out of this." But Cameron's response was firm, his hands cutting through the air. "No escape. Pete demands we kill Olivia. It's not a request. It's an order." Camilla's eyes widened, a mix of fear and conflict swirling within them. And in her mind, a voice whispered, "I hate to admit it, but I don't want to kill Olivia. She's not as awful as I assumed. If I'm being honest with myself, I enjoy being in her presence. I enjoy it so much, maybe too much." Trying to find a solution, Camilla signed, "We could just tell Pete we can't do it." Cameron sighed, his frustration palpable. "If not us, then someone else in the Pell family will. We can't escape this. It's better that it's us." Camilla frowned and looked at Cameron like he was insane before she signed. "How is it better that it's us?" Cameron signed matter-of-factly. "At least she won't have to suffer. If someone else does it, who knows what they would do to her." Camilla looked away, knowing the bitter truth of his words. Cameron, his expression cold and composed, reminded her, "Killing Olivia isn't a choice. It's a direct command." He continued, signing decisively. "We do it the day after tomorrow." Camilla, startled by his haste, signed back, "The day after tomorrow? That's the senior picnic day." Cameron's hands moved with a chilling calmness. "Exactly. The crowd will be our cover. It'll be done discreetly. No one will suspect us." Camilla's conflict was evident, torn between loyalty and her conscience. She looked at Cameron, his demeanor so cold and composed, and signed, "And Millie? How do you think she'll feel when she finds out you killed her best friend?" At the mention of Millie, Cameron's already pale complexion seemed to turn ghostly. Internally, he wrestled with the thought, "Hurting Millie is the last thing I want, but she must never find out." His hand signed back with a determination that belied his internal struggle. "Millie will never know. It has to be this way." Camilla's fingers traced a nervous dance in the air as she signed back, her brows furrowed in distress. "But she's smart, Cameron. She'll figure it out. She always does. And when she does, what then?" Cameron's expression hardened, a mask of resigned determination settling over his face. "We ensure she never finds out. We've always been careful, always covered our tracks. This will be no different." Camilla shook her head, her signs growing more frantic. "But this is different, Cameron. This is Olivia we're talking about, Millie's best friend. She won't just let this go. She'll dig and probe, and what if she discovers the truth? What if she looks at you and sees a murderer?" Cameron's hands stilled, his eyes reflecting a storm of conflicting emotions. He signed slowly, deliberately. "Camilla, it's either us or Olivia. There's no middle ground with Pete." The morning sun shone over Marshall High, but for Camilla and Cameron Pell, it felt more like a harsh, exposing spotlight. They walked through the school halls, their usual impeccable appearance replaced by a disheveled, worn-out look that was utterly foreign to them. Camilla's hair, normally sleek and perfect, was unkempt, and her makeup smudged, while Cameron's usually sharp attire was wrinkled and mismatched. Students turned to stare as the twins passed by. The Pells, known for their meticulous grooming and stoic demeanor, looked so out of sorts that their presence caused a ripple of murmurs and pointed glances throughout the school. "Wow, look at the Pell twins. Did they get mugged on their way to school?" One student snickered. "We're like mugged by life." Another quipped, eliciting a round of laughter from a group of onlookers. Cameron's hands clenched into fists at his sides, his jaw tight with silent anger. He was used to blending into the background, not being the center of mocking attention. As they turned a corner, they saw Olivia, Millie, Lena, and Frances chatting. Cameron's gaze inadvertently met Millie's, and the sight of worry in her eyes was like a physical blow. He quickly averted his glance, wishing he could just disappear. Millie and Olivia waved at the Pell twins, beckoning them over. Camilla and Cameron froze, unsure of how to react under the scrutiny of their peers. "Hey, come over here," Olivia called out, her tone friendly but laced with curiosity. The Pell twins hesitantly made their way over, their steps reluctant. Olivia's sharp eyes immediately noticed the bags under Camilla's eyes. "Camilla, you look exhausted," Olivia remarked, gently touching the area under Camilla's eyes. "You should try this amazing eye cream I use." Camilla flinched at the touch, her heart racing. "If only you knew, Olivia. I wish I could just evaporate right now. How can I stand here knowing what I have to do?" she thought, her guilt gnawing at her. "No thanks, I'm fine," Camilla said abruptly, her voice barely above a whisper. Without another word, she turned and hurried away, leaving Olivia looking after her in confusion. Millie signed to Cameron, her expression filled with concern. "Are you okay?" Cameron gave her a brief, pained look before rushing after his sister, leaving Millie staring after him, her hands falling to her sides. "What's up with them?" Olivia asked, turning to Millie. "They're acting weirder than usual." Millie shrugged, her eyes still following the retreating figures of the Pell twins. "I don't know, but something's definitely off." As class started, Millie found herself unable to focus on the teacher's lecture. Her attention kept drifting to Cameron, who sat in the back of the room, his posture rigid, his eyes fixed intently on his desk. He seemed to be making a conscious effort to avoid looking anywhere near Millie, a fact that caused her brow to furrow in concern and confusion. Cameron could feel Millie's glances like a physical touch, a reminder of a connection he knew he had to sever. He kept his gaze stubbornly averted, the weight of his impending actions heavy on his shoulders. Unable to shake her worry, Millie scribbled a note on a piece of paper and passed it to Cameron, just like she would most other days. Even though he was trying his best to ignore her, he accepted the note. Cameron hesitated, his hands trembling slightly as he opened the folded piece of paper. He could feel Millie's eyes on him filled with concern and kindness, a stark contrast to the cold future he had resigned himself to. With a deep breath, he read Millie's words. "Hey, you don't look too well. Are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help you?" Guilt washed over Cameron in waves. "Millie, you shouldn't care about someone like me. Not when you don't know the truth. I'm about to shatter your world, and here you are worried about me," he thought, a silent agony gripping his heart. "Millie is the kindest person I've ever known. She deserves better than to be anywhere near the darkness that surrounds me. I need to push her away for her own good." With a sense of finality, Cameron decided to sever all ties with Millie before he carried out the grim task ahead. He crumpled the note in his hand, his expression hardening. Millie watched, her heart sinking, as Cameron looked up at her briefly, his eyes void of the warmth she was used to. Then, in a deliberate motion, he tossed the balled-up note onto the floor and turned his gaze away, shutting her out completely. Millie's face fell, a mix of hurt and confusion painting her features as she saw the discarded note lying on the ground. After school, Millie, Olivia, Morgana, and Lena headed to the grocery store, gearing up for the preparations needed for the senior picnic. The aisles were filled with the buzz of shoppers, but Millie seemed lost in her own world, her usual lively demeanor dimmed. As they walked down the snack aisle, Olivia glanced at Millie and asked casually, "Hey, is everything okay between you and Cameron? You two seemed a bit off today." Millie's response was quick, a little too quick. "No, nothing happened," she said, forcing a smile as she reached for a bag of chips. Her voice was steady, but her eyes didn't quite meet Olivia's. Olivia, however, wasn't easily fooled. She knew Millie too well. "Are you sure? You know you can tell me anything, right?" Millie shook her head. "Really, Olivia, it's nothing. Cameron and there's nothing going on." Internally, Millie was grappling with the morning's events. Why was Cameron avoiding me? That look he gave me, I know that look. I've seen it before in the orphanage. It's the look of someone who wants nothing to do with you anymore. The thought pained her more than she cared to admit. Tapping into Millie's thoughts, Olivia frowned as she heard Millie's heartache. Why would Cameron hurt Millie like this? Olivia silently questioned. Something is going on with those twins, and I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. As the group meandered through the grocery store, Olivia couldn't shake off the heaviness in her heart, having heard the depth of Millie's heartbreak over Cameron. She watched her friend, noticing the subtle signs of distress that Millie tried so hard to mask. Millie's normally bright eyes had lost their sparkle, replaced with a distant, pensive look. Her movements were slower, more deliberate, as if each step took a conscious effort. Millie drifted from aisle to aisle, her usual enthusiasm for picking out snacks and treats noticeably absent. She seemed to be in a world of her own, her thoughts undoubtedly revolving around Cameron and the pain his actions had caused her. Olivia's heart ached for Millie. She could see the confusion and hurt written all over her friend's face, the struggle to maintain composure while dealing with the emotional turmoil inside. Olivia's empathy for Millie grew with each passing moment, and she felt a strong urge to do something, anything to help ease her friend's pain. As they reached the checkout line, Olivia turned to the group, her voice filled with the warmth and concern. Hey, why don't I cook dinner for all of us tonight? Just a small way to relax and take our minds off things. Millie turned to Olivia, a soft, grateful smile forming on her lips. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes of her appreciation for Olivia's thoughtfulness. That sounds really nice, Olivia. Thank you. Lena and Morgana's faces lit up at the mention of Olivia's cooking. Yes, Olivia's cooking is the best, Lena exclaimed, her enthusiasm bringing a much-needed lightness to the group's mood. Morgana chimed in, her own spirits lifted by the prospect of a delicious meal. Absolutely, count me in. I mean, I live with Olivia, so of course she'll be making my meals, but having dinner with more than 2 people sounds awesome. Did I mention I've started talking to the walls? Olivia laughed at Morgana and shook her head. Don't pay her any attention, Olivia said to Millie and Lena as they paid for their snacks. In Lena and Millie's cozy kitchen, Olivia took charge of the stove with an air of easy confidence. She moved around the kitchen with grace, chopping vegetables, stirring pots, and seasoning dishes with a flair that made the whole process seem like an art form. The savory aromas of garlic, herbs, and spices filled the air, promising a meal that was both comforting and delicious. As the girls gathered around the dinner table, the atmosphere was light and full of laughter. Plates were heaped with Olivia's culinary creations, and the conversation flowed easily among them. So the senior picnic is going to be so much fun, Olivia enthused, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I can't wait for all the games and, of course, the food. Morgana, leaning back in her chair, chimed in with a playful pout. I wish I knew what it meant to be a senior in American high school. Back home, it's all so different. Lena, ever the source of random facts, piped up. You know, it's a tradition for seniors to pull off a big prank at the end of the year. I've seen some hilarious ones online. Morgana's eyes lit up devilishly at the mention of a prank. Oh, tell me more. This sounds like something I could get behind. Lena began animatedly describing various pranks she'd seen. There was this one time when seniors turned the school hallway into a giant slip-and-slide, and another year they filled the principal's office with balloons. Morgana leaned forward, her excitement palpable. What if you all turned the gym into a jungle? Or release 100 rubber ducks in the school pond? Olivia and Millie burst into laughter, picturing the absurdity of Morgana's ideas. You guys are ridiculous, Millie giggled. But I have to admit, those pranks sound epic. The conversation continued, with Lena and Morgana bouncing increasingly outrageous prank ideas off each other. Olivia and Millie couldn't help but laugh at their enthusiasm and creativity. As the evening wore on and the plates were cleared, Lena suggested, It's getting late. Why don't you guys just sleep over? It'll be fun. Morgana jumped up from her seat, her energy infectious. Girls' night? It'll be just like Clueless. Olivia laughed, shaking her head. Nothing like Clueless, Morgana. Have you ever seen that movie? Morgana shrugged, a mischievous grin on her face. Of course I haven't, but I read the Wikipedia summary and it sounds fabulous. The idea of a sleepover was met with unanimous excitement. Lena rushed off to grab blankets and pillows, preparing for their impromptu sleepover. In the kitchen, Olivia and Millie were busy preparing their dishes for the senior picnic the next day. As Olivia carefully assembled her specialty dish, she couldn't help but notice that Millie seemed a bit subdued, her usual spark dimmed by a tinge of sadness. "Millie, are you ready to talk about it?" Olivia asked gently, her concern evident in her voice. Millie blushed, slightly embarrassed that Olivia could read her so easily. She shyly looked away and admitted, "I had promised Cameron I would prepare a dish for the picnic in his place since he can't cook." She hesitated before continuing. "I was actually excited about making something for him. I thought we were getting closer. Now I just feel dumb." Olivia put down her utensils and faced Millie, her expression kind. "Hey, you shouldn't feel dumb. Whatever is going on with Cameron, it has nothing to do with you." Millie nodded, a sad smile on her face. "I know, but it still hurts. I was hoping Cameron and I could maybe make the dish together. I liked the idea of us having fun and cooking together." Olivia reached out, placing a reassuring hand on Millie's shoulder. "It's okay to be sad, Millie, and I'm here for you. For a good cry and a hug anytime." Millie nodded, her eyes lighting up with a faint smile. As Olivia embraced her, she said, "Cameron is odd, but he'd be insane not to see how wonderful you are." Millie leaned into the hug, finding comfort in Olivia's words and presence. After they finished preparing the snacks for the picnic, Millie and Olivia joined Lena and Morgana in the living room. The mood lightened as they picked up game controllers and started playing video games. Laughter filled the room as they competed, teased each other, and celebrated their virtual victories. The game was a much-needed distraction, allowing them to forget the worries of the day. Millie's spirits lifted as she was immersed in the fun of her friends. Across town, the scene at the Pell household was a stark contrast to the cheerful atmosphere where Olivia and her friends were. In the cold, dimly lit room of their home, Cameron sat on the edge of his bed, methodically loading his gun, each bullet a heavy reminder of the dark deed they were being forced to commit. The metallic clicks echoed in the silent room. Camilla, her face a mask of conflict, was carefully packing her knife. The usual confidence and precision in her movements were replaced with hesitation, her eyes reflecting a turmoil that ran deep. The two exchanged a glance, their eyes heavy with regret. It was a moment loaded with unspoken fears and a shared sense of helplessness. Cameron broke the silence with his hands, signing the inevitable. "We have to do this." That night, as they each retired to their rooms, sleep seemed an impossible feat. Cameron lay in bed, his mind racing with thoughts of the impending task. The gun on his nightstand stood as a stark reminder of why he was awake. In her own room, Camilla was equally restless. She turned her knife over in her hands, its normally reassuring weight now feeling like a shackle. She tossed in her bed. Her mind was a whirlwind of doubt and fear, replaying their grim plans over and over. The next morning, as the Pell household was subdued, with Cameron and Camilla quietly getting ready for school. As they were about to leave, Camilla signed to Cameron, a hint of resignation in her movements. "Can we just leave Marshall after today? I don't think I can handle being there anymore." Cameron met her gaze, his expression solemn, and replied with a single nod, conveying his agreement. The drive to school was quiet, filled with the unspoken tension of what lay ahead. As they arrived, Camilla's eyes widened slightly. "Oh no, we forgot to bring something for the picnic," she signed, a flicker of concern crossing her face. Cameron's thoughts briefly went to Millie. "She said she'd help out, but after yesterday, I doubt she'll want anything to do with me." He felt a twinge of guilt, but pushed it aside. In stark contrast, Olivia, Lena, and Millie arrived at school full of excitement and anticipation for the day ahead. They were a burst of energy and laughter, completely unaware of the dark cloud hanging over the Pell twins. From afar, Cameron and Camilla watched the trio. Their laughter and light-hearted banter were a painful reminder of the normalcy they were about to shatter. Camilla turned to Cameron, her hands moving with a mix of fear and sorrow. She signed, "We're going to regret this, aren't we? Killing Olivia? It's going to change everything." It's best to avoid any drama with the Paradigm kids. As they walked toward the entrance, the Paradigm students began to throw jeers and mock the Marshall High students. "Look at the little rich kids on their field trip," one Paradigm student called out, their voice dripping with sarcasm. "Bet they can't even tie their shoes without a butler," another joked, eliciting snickers from their peers. The Marshall High students frowned, discomfort evident on their faces as they heard the insults. Olivia glanced back at her friends, her expression one of determination. "Just ignore them," she said firmly. "We're here to have a great time, and we're not going to let anyone ruin that for us." Her friends nodded in agreement, rallying around Olivia's positive attitude. Derek, Millie's adopted older brother, was already at the botanical gardens with a group of his friends, enjoying what was supposed to be a leisurely day out. As he saw the swarm of high schoolers pouring into the gardens, his face contorted into a frown. He hadn't expected his peaceful day to be interrupted by a school event. One of Derek's friends, scanning the crowd of teenagers, suddenly recognized a familiar face. "Hey, isn't that the girl you saved from that Otis guy a while back?" Derek's eyes followed his friend's gaze and landed on Millie. "What's she doing here?" he thought, a sense of annoyance creeping in. He wasn't particularly keen on the idea of his worlds colliding, his personal life and his complicated relationship with his adopted sister. Seeing Derek's reaction, his friend asked, "Who is she to you?" Derek replied dismissively, "She's no one important, just someone I helped out once." Just then, a girl from the nearby crowd, reeking of desperation and trying a little too hard, approached Derek. She fluttered her eyelashes at him and asked in a voice laced with flirtation, "So, what's your favorite flower?" "Mine's the rose. I think they're just so romantic, don't you?" The girl was clearly vying for Derek's attention, her crush on him evident in her every move. Derek, however, seemed uninterested and slightly irritated by the interruption. He gave her a nonchalant shrug, trying to brush off her advances. His mind was still partly on the unexpected presence of Millie in the gardens, and he found himself more distracted by this than he cared to admit. As the girl continued her attempts to engage Derek in conversation, she couldn't help but notice his gaze drifting over to Millie. A twinge of jealousy pricked at her heart, her mind racing with thoughts. Who is that girl? Why is Derek looking at her and not me? She tried to pull Derek's attention back to her, leaning in closer, hoping to reignite his interest. "You know, I also love orchids. They're so exotic and mysterious, just like you," she said, batting her eyelashes. Derek, however, seemed increasingly disinterested. He took a step back, wrinkled his nose slightly. "Your perfume, it's a bit much, kind of hurts my nose," he said bluntly, his discomfort evident. Without waiting for her response, Derek turned and walked away, leaving the girl standing there, a mix of embarrassment and anger on her face. As she watched Derek walk away, her gaze shifted back to Millie, who was now laughing with her friends. So, she's the competition, she thought bitterly. Well, she won't be for long. She needs to be eliminated from the picture. Her eyes narrowed as she watched Millie, a plan beginning to form in her mind. She was determined to win Derek's attention, and if Millie was an obstacle, she was prepared to do whatever it took to remove her.